Well, you know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
Who?
Jack Burton. Me. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel, and tonight is of course Retro Fridays, and this is the second video that I have done. This is a new series that I have started where it's not necessarily like a movie review, but more of like I pick a really good old classic retro movie that I love and have passion for, and I pretty much just come on and talk about it. So the first one that I done was The Goonies, and that was last Friday, and if you haven't seen that one, I'm going to link it below. Now tonight, as I'm sure you know from the title anyway, and my crazy intro, Kurt Russell intro, we are of course going to be talking to you is about Big Trouble in Little China. One of those movies that never gets old. Was brought out the year before I was born, so 1986 the movie was brought out. I was born in 87. I'm an 80s baby. And it was directed by John Carpenter. And he also directed a movie called Escape from LA, and it of course, starred Kurt Russell, and of course Kurt Russell played Jack in this movie. And what I love about this movie is that it's pretty much the best way I would describe it anyway. If someone asked me to, describe the movie and they hadn't seen it before. By the way, if you haven't seen this movie, what are you doing? Don't even worry about watching the rest of my video right now. Take yourself away and watch it. It's, you've got cheesiness, you've got a ton of humour, you have got kung fu fights, you have got even, Chinese style mythology, you've got complete and utter craziness, randomness, action, just crazy madness is basically, so of course this is right down my alley. I am as crazy and as random as they're going to come, so of course I like this movie. This movie isn't going to be for someone who takes life too serious. If you're not a bit random, would recommend it. Kurt Russell, he was absolutely fantastic at that role. He literally owned that role. He was so charismatic. I freaking love the guy. The guy was a legend in this movie. It's pretty much, if you haven't seen the movie, the movie is pretty much Kurt Russell, who plays a character called Jack. He's a lead in this movie. By the way, his friend's fiance gets captured, so he helps him, but then they end up in San Francisco's underground in Chinatown. And because of that, there's this street gang and a band of martial artists and also evil spirits. So when you think about it with me sort of explaining all that, it does sound absolutely nuts and absolutely crazy and out there, and it absolutely is. But you know what? That is exactly what made this movie so fantastic, was just how crazy it was, if that makes sense, and I love it. Now, I am a huge fan of martial arts. I have a massive passion and love for martial arts and a huge appreciation for it. I have a ton of martial arts movies, so of course I really appreciate it and loved it, the added that element in to the movie. I love all those scenes, and I might actually in the future, it won't be anytime soon guys, because I don't want to be throwing too much at you on my channel and have everything all over the place, but if some of you's what I might do in the future is I might maybe pick a day, like say a Saturday or a Sunday, and pick maybe one of my martial arts DVDs and maybe talk about one of those. So that could maybe be like a new series after I've done this one for a while. But you've loved the first one of this Retro Friday. So I was really glad, because I didn't know how I was going to go. So I'm really glad that you are loving this. So, we'll see how long we'll go with this one. So many classic retro movies, we could go on forever. But, I might do the martial arts one as something else. But anyhow, this isn't about that. We're going to move on. I absolutely loved the visuals of this movie. It was very 80s, very retro. So I thought this was a perfect pick for our video tonight. And I loved all the sort of special sort of trickery effects that they used throughout the film. And one thing about this movie is, if you haven't seen it, it is a well-paced movie. There's nothing more worse than, speak properly, Jilly. There is nothing worse, I get so nervous on my YouTube videos even still, and I've been on here for like nearly 2 years now. You're doing this really good. But, you know, this is well paced. I'm going to just move on because it's going so badly. We've got the weird ass villain, Lopan. And I really want to talk about him. How can I not talk about this guy in this video? He was more of a complete and utter creepo, you know, like a weird ass creep, rather than, you know, a scary antagonist, you know, like a scary villain. To me, he was more just, oh my gosh, that guy is so creepy and weird that it's actually hilarious, and it's really cheesy and corny, and that's kind of how I would describe him. A cheesy, corny, weird, creepy, mad villain. Yeah, that's how I would explain to him. Absolutely hilarious, and he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna marry both of these girls. I want to talk about one of my favourite scenes in this movie, and I'm sure a lot of my subscribers who are fans of Star Wars, I already know, like the people who are going to be in my live chat that are already going to agree with me that they love this scene as well. It was the scene with Egg Shen and Lopan, the fight scene, because it just sort of put me in mind of something out of Star Wars. It's kind of like a retro Star Wars, sort of like a thing they were going for. And it was so hilarious because in that scene, Lopan was sort of like moving his fingers almost like it was, you know, like a controller, some sort of like game controller. It was so funny. And what I really loved was, you know, all the retro colours. It was just like 80s, you know, like splashed on the screen. And, you know, young kids nowadays might watch it and go, oh my gosh, that looks so like cheap and like really cheaply made or whatever. But no, I just look at it and go, that looks freaking class, that looks awesome, that just looks so retro and 80s. It's so cool, I absolutely love it. And what I also loved as well was the fact that you could see, you know, the two spirits, you know, like fighting and everything. And what I want to say as well, talking off retro, is the music was very retro as well, but also parts of the music was like mysterious and creepy, and it really did blend in well with the movie. And what's also interesting as well is John Carpenter, who actually directed the movie, he actually did compose music as well for this movie. Now, I didn't compose all of it, but he did compose music for this, so I thought that was really cool. Like, you know, why not? You know, if you're going to direct a movie, why not put, you know, music that you've composed into it? I want to talk about my favourite character in this movie, who you've probably guessed from my crazy ass intro, is of course Jack Burton. Because you know what Jack Burton would always say. He's in a movie called Overboard, and that is a comedy movie, and it's sort of a movie that I would watch every summer, because to me it's a summery movie anyways. And what I really love about his character Jack in this movie is he reminds me of my favourite Star Wars character ever, freaking Harrison Ford, aka Indy Jones, aka Han Solo, aka, you know, legend basically. You know, you have the cheesy dialogue just like Han Solo, you know, you've got the whole, you know, smirk attitude, and, you know, like a kind of like a love himself, overly confident, you know, walking into the room like he owns the place pretty much, you know. He just really does put me in mind of Han Solo. And I love the part near the end. I have to talk about a couple of parts that I like. There's too many to name. The movie's hilarious, as I'm sure if you've seen it you all know. I'd be here forever and a day talking about the funny things that Jack says in this movie and just funny parts in general. But I love the part at the end where he kissed Gracie. Now I know she was in Sex and the City, like a TV series, but never ever watched even a few seconds of it, so I don't know what she was like in that. I don't know her real name as an actress, sorry guys, but she was called Gracie in this, and he kissed her and she was wearing like red lipstick. She had a lot of like red lipstick on, and he kissed her, and then like toward the end there was a scene with Lopan and everything, and they're all just sort of like standing, and everybody can clearly see, like, that, and his friend and everything even sees, his mate sees that he's got lipstick clearly on his, all over his lips and like around like his face, and they just, you know, let him carry on. They don't even say nothing, and it just looks absolutely hilarious because he has absolutely no, you know, notion that it's actually, you know, all over him sort of thing. And it's just so funny looking, and to this day, my stomach like gets really sore from laughing at that part. And then he flirted with her the whole way through the freaking movie, kissed her and everything. was really flirting with her. And then he turned the girl down at the very end of the film, when the film's ending. I do have something written down, guys, that I actually want to go over, which I think is actually really interesting. And so please stay with me. Especially if you've seen this movie, you might find it interesting. You might already know this, but I've this written down, guys, so I don't, because there's no way I would remember all of this because it's from an article. But I can actually remember myself, I think it was back in like 2015, 2016. It was a while back anyways, you get the gist. That Dwayne Johnson, who of course was the wrestler The Rock, used to have figurines and everything, weirdo. But anyways, I love The Rock, by the way. But he was apparently going to produce and star in a remake of Big Trouble in Little China, which I think sounds utterly ridiculous. And I'm not saying anything against Dwayne Johnson, I'm just saying no offence to anybody on the planet. But that's not how the world works, unfortunately. You cannot just remake a classic. You don't just get a really one-off classic movie like Big Trouble in Little China and go, I'm going to remake that, because that is not how the world works, in my opinion. It just should never be touched. And Kurt Russell, I think he was in one of the Fast and the Furious movies. I don't pay attention to those films, not for me, but pretty much he was in one of the movies with him, I think anyways, and he was friendly and everything with him, and I think they were good friends and stuff like that, and they got on well, and he pretty much said, good luck and everything if they do this, and I hope that they do, good work on it if they do it and things like that, and all the best to him. And like, he was nice about it, saying like all the best to him toward the end of the article of what he said. However, there was other interesting things that Kurt Russell, who plays Jack in Big Trouble in Little China, that he actually was pretty much sort of saying like, I don't think this can be recreated. So I thought that was really interesting. So I'm actually going to read out to you, if you're still interested, what Kurt Russell actually said. So here goes. Kurt Russell said, it would be hard to recapture John Carpenter's look and feel, which was very fresh at the time, as well as the unconventional action hero that made Big Trouble in Little China work so well. Nobody had ever done a leading man who didn't realise he wasn't the leading man. That's exactly why I loved Jack in this movie, by the way. He behaves like the sidekick, but doesn't know that 100%. That hadn't been done, and it was difficult for the studio to get around in terms of promoting it too. Absolutely agree with them. You can let me know what you think if you've seen the movie and what he had to say on this. And that's, as I say, that's what I loved about his character in the movie. He literally did act as a sidekick throughout this movie. And, I don't feel it's a movie that should even be thought of being, nobody should even be thinking about touching it, let alone actually thinking of it as an actual serious idea that, they're going to go for. And, it works so well. And for the time in which, they captured it, it's impossible. I'm sorry. If someone does remake it, good luck to you, fair play to you and all. But it ain't going to be something that I would ever watch, because to me, this is the only one that should be watched, in my personal opinion. And, I'd rather it be cherished, for the way it was. And I don't think that anybody would be able to be as charismatic as, Kurt Russell. I don't think there'd be anybody out there that I would they would probably pick somebody like Chris Pratt or something like that, you know what I mean? Which I'm not saying, I like Chris Pratt, of course, from Guardians of the Galaxy. And of course, Kurt Russell as well, he plays Jack in this, was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I watched, there was a Christmas movie of his I watched. It was a Netflix film. It was Chronicles of, what was it? Chronicles of, what was it? Somebody let me know, please, because that will annoy me. That is going to annoy me. What was that? Chronicles of something. Anyways, but it was actually pretty good. It wasn't anything like, wow, out there, but like amazing. But it was one of his recent ones as well that I had watched a while back, and I liked it. But yeah, his son actually is in a show called Rules of Engagement. Has any of you actually seen that? I freaking love that show, Rules of Engagement, and his son is so hilarious in that, honestly. But anywho, back to on the point of what we're talking about, guys, sorry. Pretty much, I think, it was well casted, and it was just an all over cheesy ass brilliant movie. And please no one remake this. But of course, obviously, I know myself that it will be remade. Of course it will, because everything gets remade, rebooted, live action. I appreciate what he sort of said there, because I think 100% bang on, spot on Kurt Russell. So fair play to you for, putting it so well and not making it sound sort of like arrogant or, anything like that. But I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I would really love to continue this series. So hopefully, if you love this, I will definitely be seeing you next Friday, the Friday after that, and the Friday after that, because there's so many good movies. That is the thing. I don't think this is something that could ever run out of ideas on. So providing you are all happy and that you enjoy coming to our channel and enjoying this, then I will do this for as long as you want me to. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this one tonight of Big Trouble in Little China. Let me know what you think of the movie, who your favourite character is, what your favourite scene is. Let me know your favourite scene as well. If you haven't seen it, or are you going to watch it after seeing this? Just before I go, I just wanted to quickly ask, guys, you don't have to, but if you can try and, like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, because that really, really does help my YouTube channel. If you could share it with your friends by any means possible that you can, it really does help my channel, because notifications, tons of people are telling me notifications aren't going out to them time and time again. They're coming and telling me this. They're coming and telling me that YouTube are unsubscribing them to my channel without them unsubscribing to me. Someone told me this has happened to them 3 or 4 times. So that's YouTube. We'll get over it, guys. We'll get over it together. But if you can do your best to help out, you don't have to, but if you do, really appreciate it. Thank you so much again, and I cannot wait. I will see you all next Friday for Retro Friday if you enjoyed this one. So until the next time, don't forget that the Force will be with you always, because in this situation, that's what Julie would always say. Bye, guys.